Yeah, look at this. Look at this shit. So these devils, man, they have no room to talk, man. They're just hurt. All right, this word is getting to them. All right, and everything that they are saying about us, but they acted as these self-righteous, wholesome, conservative, moral people on the face of the planet when they've been masquerading and faking it the whole time. All right. Now the world get to see who you really, truly are, man. Okay. So let's go back to this devil, man. And I'm gonna close out, but we just got to get perspective. This man, just look at him. You probably could look at his browser, his history, and tell that this man he wants to do something violent. He probably need to be put in prison. But at the end of the day, the Lord's just gonna come and do and eat him accordingly. All right.
All of any criminal statistic that you could look at, almost pretty much without exception, they excel at them. Black culture. So when we make this generalization, one of the purposes of it, one of the points of utility for it, is for black people who do not embody that culture to repudiate it, hate it, and also for policymakers to make the kind of political movements and in terms of law and order that would usher in the change over time of that culture. One of them would be something like, I tweeted about this, the law of Moses in Deuteronomy 21 concerning a rebellious child. If 5 to 6% of black, I think it's something like 5% of black males are murderers.
Yeah, 5% of young Africans are committing the bulk of the murders.
So if you had 100 black men in America,
so it ain't the Edomite that's doing all these mass shootings. Jake taking each other out in retaliatory killings, or a dispute between a man and a woman over the children, a battle in the court system. Jake get exhausted, frustrated, takes the mama out and then himself or whatever. Which you could say that's happening with Edomite families too. All right, but either way, there's murderers, there's criminals among all nations of people. That's why the scriptures say that there is no one good on earth. But this devil's trying to make it seem as if he's the perfect one and we're the villain. Let me get this in, was it Ecclesiastes 7? Yeah, this is Ecclesiastes 7:20. It says, "Not a single person on earth is always good and never sins." There's wickedness all on this earth with everyone. Psalm 130:3. Lord, if you kept a record of our sins, who, O Lord, could ever survive? Psalm 143:2. Don't put your servant on trial, for no one is innocent before you. Proverbs 20:9. Who can say I have cleansed my heart? I am pure and free from sin. All right. And this is dealing with our own people, but just in general. All right. Let me get Job 9:20. Yeah, this Edomite Christian conservatism, with the same Christian theology that enslaved and murdered and committed genocide and justified it, are trying to act like they're perfect and they're the moral compass of the world. This shit is laughable. Job 9:20 says, "If I justify myself, my own mouth shall condemn me. If I say I am perfect, it shall also prove me perverse." All right, so he's perverse.
Even just, I think specifically, if you had 100 black men in a room, 5 of them would have committed murder, which is a lot. Quite a few.
One, as Matt Walsh pointed out, the actual number of blacks who are committing murder is more than Whites. And whites are significant.
It's all bullshit. They pull that out of their ass just to project. Like I've been saying, they make up these numbers in their head, or they go to the statistics that they actually lie and fabricate the numbers to make it seem like it's Jake doing all of it or most of it. And then, of course, when you relegate Jake to the environment in which they set up, leaving Jake in these major cities, all right, with no development, run down, everybody's in close proximity of each other, and there's limited resources, what do you think is going to happen? You deny them of resources, you allow these other nations to come into our neighborhoods. They get loans, they get to start their businesses and get over on Jake. There's an Asian woman that broke that whole thing down in a video, I think it was like maybe a year or two ago. She broke it down, how the Asian community even gets over on Jake. It's all systematically. So, but this devil is he's really trying to wash his hands and erase history while trying to paint a narrative. It's just too bad that he's doing horrible at it, because the world already has seen you and is seeing you. All this is a big crash out.
Greater
60% compared to 13%
percentage of the population. Yeah.
So if you take that, and then you took a law like Deuteronomy 21, which is a just law that God enacted through Moses. The law was that if you had a rebellious son, you have a child they're coming up into their manhood and they're rebellious, they don't listen. He lists some characteristics, and even though they're disciplined, they will not turn. He says the fathers to bring them out into the town square. This is a rebellious son, and then they stone him to death. They kill him.
And an armed robber would certainly be one of those.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree. That is a righteous law. Put a lot of these babies, these GMO babies down, because there's a lot of these young YNs. They're very disrespectful. They're very disobedient to their parents. So, hey, but should that not apply to you too? If this is what we're gonna do. You got little Edomite kids that'll kill their parents for putting their PlayStation away. Come on, man.
Robber, all the ghetto
violent
culture,
crime.
Basically, take ghetto culture, it would describe this to a T. If you did that over 3 generations, how much violent crime would you have in the 3rd and 4th generation? Much.
Well, who capitalized off of it? Who like the music entertainment industry, all that violence in that music, but who gives them the deals to continue to spread that violence in the music to keep that influence going? Who capitalizes from it? Who says, well, we're gonna market, we're gonna have a whole market behind that kind of music, push that to the forefront, make the rappers who rap about that, make sure that they're the top high-earned rap artists. Who's doing that? They don't want to talk about that.
Much less. What we've done instead is we've actually, with unjust weights and measures, we have wildly penalized whites for even virtuous acts in lawfare. And we have done...
Yeah, like what all these MAGA people are doing. All these grape acts, shooting up churches, burning them down, that's virtuous. Vocab, you think what they're doing is virtuous? I dare you to talk about this. You'll never be balanced in what you do and what you're teaching. You will never have a balance, because we get on our own. I don't think you don't even have that in your blood to just be honest, because you're not an honest people, man. You're the devil that the scriptures speak of, and I'm glad it's all coming out. So these violent hypocrites. All right, that's why that day is coming, man. Let's get Job. Job 20:4. And it says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Yeah. This is all just but for a moment, because their day is coming. All right. It's just about up. All right. Lamentation 4:21. I'm going to read it in the NLT. And it says, are you rejoicing in the land of Uz, O people of Edom? But you too must drink from the cup of the Lord's anger. You too will be stripped naked in your drunkenness. O beautiful Jerusalem, your punishment will end. You will soon return from exile. But Edom, your punishment is just beginning. Soon your many sins will be exposed. And that's exactly what's going down. All right. Proverbs 12:19. And it says, truthful words stand the test of time, but lies are soon exposed. All right. Deceit fills hearts that are plotting evil. And that's what I see happening with them. They basically in war mode, and they're thinking that it's going to be back to the Jim Crow days where they was able to roll on Jake, and, you know, because we know back at that time, you know, Jake wasn't as defensive, you know. They feared these Edomites, and, you know, they some of them fought back, but a lot of them, you know, they laid down. But this generation, you ain't gonna find no Jakes in that on that timing, unless you get one of these coons in the Christian church, docile. But you devils, man, all this deceit that you're spreading is because you're plotting. It says joy fills hearts that are planning peace. No harm comes to the godly, but the wicked have their fill of trouble. And the Lord's getting ready to bring trouble upon you. Scriptures talk about the calamity of Esau shall be brought upon him. So you about to suffer calamity. All right. So I think I could stop it here. You know, I'm sure there's more I can, go. But hey, you know, because of your violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover you. You know, so you can only, you know, do so much with your narrative painting, but it's not going to work. All right, Mr. Brian Suave. So I'm going to end right there. I'm going to give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And until the next lesson, I say Shalom.